welcome back to my channel. I'm Raven Scar, and today we're going to be taking a tour of Sanctuaries of Reptile World. Now, before we get started, a little bit of an explanation of what Sanctuaries actually is pretty much another series of miniature zoos, but instead of based off a theme of biome, location, continent, it's mainly going to be based off animals. So the animals is the theme. So reptiles, big cats, bears, monkeys and apes. And of course this one is all about the reptiles. And here we're starting in the guest spawner area. It's not the one that you get from your normal sandbox maps. So guest spawners are hidden in here. My plan originally was to take this blueprint of the guest spawner and use it in every single sanctuary zoo, but I've decided to change that plan, so when the next one comes out we'll have something different. But so we get started here, we'll go ahead and find a staff member. Go into Tedgecam. Alright, so yep, back here you see is the guest spawner. This is where the guest comes in. Of course, once again, the zoo is closed, mainly to make sure that the frame rate is good and the game runs as smooth as possible. There's a heavy piece count in the zoo. It might be a small zoo. Well, it's not the smallest zoo. It's definitely bigger than Zoo Littles, but once again, it's still, for me, it is still a miniature zoo, mainly due to how many animals are in the zoo. So come out and we get to the big entrance building. The fonts here are made by Rycie and RiaPx. Most of the custom fonts that you see in here are made by either one of those two. We got our water features here. This was definitely fun, trying to get the barriers to sink down. This is as low as I can get the barriers to sink down with the water level. So we'll just call it extra safety measures. But a couple months ago I did the building props episodes for this particular series, and we built things like these custom education boards, lamp posts, signposts, education screens, and all that stuff. So over here in the corners we have areas for the guests to sit and use the vending machines. Same with over here. We got our custom walls. Pretty simple. It's basic stuff. I used the temple floor pieces for the flooring here because I figure with the darker color it makes everything else stand out more. So you got the dark flooring, it makes everything pop, especially with these white concrete pillars and stuff like that. Also, we got these little custom lamp posts here as well, or these little lamps. But over here we have our we have a staff building, and like I said, this is in previous zoos that I've built. These are for the staff that mainly work the entrance area, so security guards, caretakers, vending machines, or excuse me, vendors. And it's pretty much mirrored. Same with over here. As you can see, this place is very heavily forested, so the biome I had chosen was tropical, mainly because of this reason here. I don't want you to be able to see what's going on anywhere else in the zoo until you get to that part. So if you want to go see the crocodiles, you're not going to be able to see the crocodiles or anything about what's going on at Crocodile Lake until you get there. We even got our custom solar panels here. And these are one of the custom signs where I buried the music speakers in. So you can see you got the exit, visitor center, Crocodile Lake, 2 tortoises, you can go this way. And on the other side, going that way, you can go see the dragons and monitors and the house of reptiles. So admittedly, this build was difficult, mainly for the fact that I planned it out, but I didn't plan it out the best way possible. So everything is really spread out, and I'm really hoping that the next zoo in the Sanctuary series that we do, I'm going to try my best to make it a little bit better in terms of layout. So definitely lots of benches and places for guests to sit down, because they will complain about the walking distances. But as we come in to the entrance here, again with this really cool sign, I'm very proud of that sign. We come in through the foyer here. First thing you do is you can get your tickets. To the right over here we got our gift shop area, and to the left we have our cafe. We'll go check out the cafe first. Of course we got our ATMs. We got our wisteria growing over the walls. These are custom shades. Just a little something simple I threw together. And we got our gulpy soda and chief beef. Your standard eateries. And then come over to the side here and we have the massive eating area. You got your tables over here. We got tables against the windows, all separated for privacy with these fences. We have nice little flower beds, custom lights. I use the chains with the ball lights. Of course, they're a little bit low, but unfortunately, this is the shortest chain piece that we have. I wish we had one that was maybe like 1 meter, so I could make them shorter, but here we are. So yeah, this was a lot of work, especially these are all custom wood beams. Of course, we got the concrete pillars. It was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun to build, and I think it came out really awesome. Frankly, one of the my most favorite things I've ever built. Honestly, this episode did really well. I had to break it up into 2 parts. You know, this took hours to build, and then I had to break it up to a second part to finish out the entrance plaza out here in the front. But everything I think turned out really, really well. Of course, we got our custom planters in here. Plenty of seating, plenty of trash cans and bins. And we come over to this side. It's again with the ATM. We have some conservation boards on both sides, and then we have our bathrooms. And we come over here and we come into the gift shop. Of course, all these pieces in here are made by Bobson and Bork, I believe. Let me double check to make sure. Yep, gift shop items are Bobson and Bork. I used to use a lot of plastic swans and skylalas. Nothing against their work. It's not that these are better, and neither one is better than the other. They're both, to me, equally amazing. But I wanted to use something different because I've been using the same ones over and over and over again. So, plus these worked out really well in the fashion that I wanted this to be built in. So, but pretty much every piece has been used. We got the Hans Fantastic on this side, and we got just a Memento on that side. A little seating area over here with some magazines to read. So yeah, I think it came out awesome. Interestingly enough, I'm in the middle of building, and I start seeing these all around the zoo, just all over the place, and paths and stuff. It turns out for some reason they have moved, so I had to reset all those enrichment pieces, because that's what those are, is enrichment items. But yeah, got your massive gift shop, lots and lots of lots of props. I mean, what a view is this, right? You can just look up, especially if it's raining. Maybe even snowing. I mean, of course, we're in a tropical biome, so you're not going to get a lot of snow, but it'd be one hell of a view, that's for sure. And then we come over here, and right here is where we'll get a view of all the reptiles that are in the zoo. Now, there are a few missing, so we don't have the other tortoise up here, because it wouldn't fit. And that was because when I planned this out, that was before we got the aquatic pack. But I feel like this is enough to tell you what it's all about. And then, of course, we're missing... I can't remember which animals we're missing, but we're missing a few on this one as well. But it's pretty much an idea of everything you're going to get to see. So, the only thing I wish you could turn it off, because it constantly get the alert saying that these are too far away from the exhibit. So I wish there was a way you could turn it off to where it's not attached to any of the exhibits. Well, we come out from the visitor center here, and of course you get another sign. Tells you which way you can go to see the animals, and we have our massive sign to tell you what is over here, and these are the 2 tortoises with this awesome fountain, which while I was building it crashed and I hadn't saved, so I had to redo everything. Excuse me. We'll go this way first. Of course, we got some more education boards, or should I say conservation boards. We have these little plazas over here too. Got information, and then on this side we got street coffee, so it's just a little place for people to sit down and relax, enjoy the nature, the scenery. I really like this view as well. From here you can see what's going on over there. That's the two tortoises enclosures. Of course, I'll explain a little bit more about it when we get to that point. And on the other side here, we have the pretty much the same thing, except this time we have the Missy Good, so you can get your donuts. And each side here is literally just back to the visitor center, and it's the same on both sides. But we'll start with the two tortoises. That's the first habitat that I built. So you can come up on either side. You got here, and then you also have the stairway over there. And you'll notice the first thing you come to is the Galapagos giant tortoises. Massive exhibit. Got the strangler tree growing out of the rocks here. Excuse me while I get a drink. We got the strangler fig growing out of the rocks here. My plan originally was to have a custom fence all along the path, but I gotta be honest with you, it was a lot of work, so... And I don't see nothing wrong with this. I mean, it doesn't keep the kids from crawling through, but it's something. We'll take you up here first. And this is the main viewing area. Custom roof. This is all custom. And it's a good view of the Algebra and Galapagos giant tortoises. Over here we have a sleeping area where you can look down inside and see them. There's one right there now. It's like that on both sides. Got plenty of education, plenty of conservation boards. You even get a nifty little view into the backstage area, which we'll get to when we come around to the other side. And this is where we'll have our animal talks at. Big habitat for such small animals. They don't really need that much space. I think they only require, you know, what, something under 200 square meters of space. But, yeah, there's nothing wrong with giving them a big habitat to live in, though. Tried to make each side a little bit different in terms of foliage and whatnot. This is the Algebra, by the way. Come around to the bottom here. Come down, and this is where we get to tortoise talk. This will be for the, this will be for the Galapagos giant tortoise, I think. I hope this is correct. But we got their sleeping area over here. All this stuff. They got different sections, so over here we can view from over here. We got here where they do the animal talks, where they can throw the food into the exhibits. Same with up there, getting a good view. You get definitely different levels of viewing. What I was going for. Yep, custom roof. You got these little custom flower pots. I use the one of those little twig things you get from the building menu, and just added the flowers on it. Every once in a while, you do get a view of what's to come. And I try my best to make sure everything was covered. And you'll probably notice I forgot a few things. There's a few things in the zoo that I forgot to do after I finished it, but it happens. So, another view of the eating area. And here we got our staff section. And again, this is something you'll see throughout the entire zoo. I built one staff section comprising of a staff room and 2 keeper sets. The idea for these were to be used for 2 habitats apiece. We also have our water treatment and our power center, or our power generator. And we come back in the back here, and we also have some backstage stuff. So we got their food, and these are made by several different people. There's a few pieces from each person. We have some backstage props by Creeperboy, some keeper items by SimplySavannah, and warehouse props by PeterUhr. I hope I'm saying that right. I can't really remember exactly which ones are which, but we have some from each person. Again, it's something that I could probably build myself, but I decided that, you know, why build it when people have already done such an amazing job. I mean, look at these. You know, right now I'm not really too concerned about piece count, so why not use them? This is something quick and simple to give it a little bit of a little touch of realism. I'm not looking to make the zoo extremely realistic, but I think it's fun to have a little bit of realism there. We come over here and we have the other tortoises. And the same thing over here. It's all pretty much mirrored. We got a tortoise talk for these guys. Sorry if the music is too loud, by the way. Should have checked that stuff before I started. And then it comes all the way around, and it's all looping. Again, when we get done with the tour, I'll do an overhead view and kind of show you things from there, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's just all... Really, what I was going for is I wanted some terrain variation. Not necessarily terrain variation, but just path variation. I wanted some heights. I wanted different viewing platforms from different levels and whatnot. So, and before we continue on with the rest of the zoo, we will come over here and we'll check out the Reptile Research Center. I designed this in a way to have it where people could take a tour of this area. So like you pay maybe some extra VIP status money or something, and you get an extra tour, or you get a side tour of the Reptile Research Center where they do all the work, take care of all the animals. But of course, as usual, this encompasses every staff facility you need to run a zoo. It's even got the keeper hut, which really isn't used, but it's there. But we got our vets, our animal trade centers, workshops, research centers, staff lounges, quarantine, everything you need, all right here. And unlike most people, even in Sandbox, I actually do still use the quarantine because it's easier to worry about, to do the quarantine first. That way when all the animals go into your exhibit and you're trying to build the exhibit or the habitat around them and make sure that it works for them, but they're constantly, you know, disease discovered, you know, injury discovered, and they get taken away, so you have to wait for them to come back to check the traversable area and all that stuff. So it's easier just to avoid those problems. So after the Reptile Research Center, the next thing that I had built was the dragons and monitors. Come all the way around. Like I said, there's a lot of walking in this zoo. Really, I should have put a sign here, now that I think about it. But we come through and we get to our dragons and our monitors. This one turned out pretty well. Like I said, it was difficult for me trying to get this put together. You know, when you do the rotational symmetry trick, you know, these roof pieces don't always line up properly. So sometimes you have to kind of go think outside the box and make some custom roof pieces. That's what we did. We pretty much put skylights in because when these get rotated to here, they overlap each other over here, and they have this weird angle on them, so they don't overlap the way they're supposed to. Which, I mean, it makes sense. But and then of course up here I use the new planted wall pieces, those planters from the aquatic pack. And we come in over here, we got the Komodos. Got a horrible glare on the window. And then we got the green iguana over here as well. I needed something here, and it's always plants that I always put in the middle. I decided to go with an animal this time. And then on the other side we have our Nile monitors. Now, what I was talking about earlier about how I planned it out, but it wasn't the best planning, is honestly, this should have been the tortoise habitats because the tortoises don't require as much space. The Komodo dragons are actually not happy about their space in this zoo, or in these habitats, but the Nile monitors actually are, but they're right on the cusp of it. I mean, they're right at the edge. Adding another tree or rock would have ruined that. We'll come over here to the Nile monitor, and this is where we have our animal talk. Got these cool little shades. 2 sections. One over here is this is specifically for the animal talks. You see one crawling right now. He's right up there. It's pretty cool. And over here we have another area to look. Turned out pretty well. And this is all staff section, by the way. This goes all the way to the back. Same with this area over here. We also have the Nile monitors on this side. Plenty of places to climb. And along over here is the staff section. If we go this way, and we'll take a look inside the habitats here in a minute. I would like to do these tours as a guest first, and then after that we can do the overhead stuff. But of course, again, once you can see here, we have our staff facilities again. This is the staff facilities connected to all the areas back here, and there's really no viewing areas back here for the guests. These are all just the places where the staff can take care of everything. But like I said, you know, who's to say that you can't take a backstage tour and get to take a look at all these all this stuff back here. the next thing that I built. Sorry if you can hear that in the background. My cats are acting crazy again. It never fails. Come all the way to the back here, and we come to the House of Reptiles. And I have to say that there's a lot of things in this that I would have done differently, that I wish I would have done differently. I am very proud of this build, but this middle section here is way too big. It was not meant to be this big, and sometimes I overestimate the size of what the habitats need to be. I tend to do that a lot, so that's how it kind of turned out. But we do have an entrance over here with these huge oversized doors that I forgot to make sure that they were to scale. But we will go through the main doors first. And same on the other side. But we come in to the House of Reptiles. These massive doors. And we got our caimans in the middle. We have info shops. We have restrooms, gifts. This right here, I'm telling you, I gotta be honest, this is one of those things where I'm starting to lose it just a little bit. I love this game so much. It is literally one of my favorite games right now, and it probably will be for a long time. But this right here has got to be fixed, because even though I'm in sandbox, my zoo is not being taken care of. So I'm constantly getting alerts saying that my animals aren't being fed, and it's like, well, why is that? I have work zones set up. What's going on? So I come and check, and my keepers are stuck. These are caretakers, but I'm just using them as an example. So the keepers will be stuck like this, and I'm not feeding my animals. And it's every zoo that I play in, no matter what map I play on, whether it's a map from the career scenarios. And probably about 5 times now I've reported this bug. I've even added pictures and to show what's going on. And because it's a duplicate on the forums, when I report the bug, they delete it, but yet it doesn't get fixed. You know, this most recent update we just had fixed a lot of the problems with the aquatic pack, which I'm very thankful for. But this is something that I was looking for in the patch notes. Wasn't there. I've spoken to a few people about it. It seems like other people aren't having the same problem that I'm having, and that's fine. But it's very, very frustrating. It's like I'm playing franchise mode, where I'm constantly having to take care of my zoo when I shouldn't be, because I'm in sandbox mode, and that's the whole point of sandbox mode. But I'll stop complaining. We'll come around. Like I said, just more plants, and staff section that goes out to the back here. This required 2 of those little prefab things that I built with the keepers and staff room, because there's so much in here. We got a juice, fries, little seating area, and that's the entrance to the caiman habitat. And then we got all these different viewing areas. Again, a habitat that is way too big for the animals. I overestimated it and forgot how small the caimans were. This was actually inspired from the reptile house at the zoo, my local zoo, which is, the reptile house is much, much smaller. It's literally just a concrete building, but in the center of the reptile house, there's a round enclosure where it's open and you can look right into it, and it's got small crocodilians and some turtles and some fish and stuff like that. So. But we do have our animal talks over here. So you come over to the platform, have a seat, listen to them talk about them. There is no underwater viewing for this, by the way. But I think it turned out pretty well. I like my little island over here. I'm proud of it. I just wish I would have made it smaller. You know, it's just, for me, it's too much. So here we have a little section for the snakes. Across the way here we have frogs and lizards. Yes, I know Goliath frog is a frog, but the way I set those up, there's 6 exhibits in each side, and I wanted to make sure that it was even. So on the other side, we have the 3 poison dart frogs, or those the small frogs, like the red-eyed tree frog and the 2 poison frogs. So I decided to put the Goliath frog over here, and along with the diamondback terrapin, because it didn't really fit within snakes, lizards, or frogs. So just something a little extra over here. They're in there somewhere. Oh, there's one right there. And then we got the frog right there. And we come through here and we got the snakes, and this is the part that I'm most proud of. Again, we got some giant doors. But here, this is something that I'm very proud of. It's to me, this is rotational symmetry working the way it's supposed to work. This was a lot of fun to build. The path was a little tricky, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. We got all 6 species of snake in here. We got the puff adder, boa constrictor, eastern brown snake, and on this side we have the common death adder, yellow anaconda, and the diamondback rattlesnake. As you can see, there's a little bit of a theme here. So I got, you know, desert, tropical, desert, and then we got the desert, tropical, and desert. So it's kind of the theme that I went with. We got plenty of speakers in here to give it that tropical rainforest type feel to it. But I did have a lot of fun building this. I'll tell you one thing we do need is we need 1 meter tall pieces of these murals. That's one thing we need the most of, that's for sure. This is an exit, by the way, so you can come out here and you can exit out through here. But we'll come on the other side and we'll look at the lizards and the lizards and frogs. It's pretty much a mirrored version, so it's exactly the same as the other side. Pretty much what it is, after I built that one side, I saved it as a blueprint and mirrored it. But yeah, we got our poison frogs and our red tree frog, red-eyed tree frog, and the Gila monster, Antillean iguana, and blue-tongued lizard. Plus, we got the green iguana over here over there in the dragons and monitors section as well. And once again, we have a exit. So this is pretty much the edge. I had Sanctuaries originally, I had like a predetermined barrier, like predetermined boundaries of where I wanted to build the zoo at, which I did succeed in making sure I stayed within those boundaries. But I'm not sure if I'm going to continue to do that. We'll have to wait and see. Zoo Littles, you know, is all about the building and predetermined boundaries. I feel like Sanctuaries, you know, it's another form of miniature zoo. Maybe I should just go a little bit, you know, off the rails and not worry about the predetermined boundaries. Just build a miniature zoo, you know. So, like, for instance, with the reptiles, or the reptile zoo, reptile world, excuse me. Instead of worrying about the predetermined boundaries, let's just fit all the reptiles in one single zoo and go from there. We come out here and, well, not this way, excuse me. And of course, this is where the, I didn't do much detailing back here. Again, to me, it wasn't a big deal. You're really never going to see this. There's one on the other side as well. So, well, we'll leave these guys stuck here. They're not doing their job. And follow this path all the way around. Like I said, it's a lot of walking. I'm going to have to do a much better job of planning next time. Come around the side. These are the 2 tortoises, by the way. And come this way, and we'll come to the final, I guess, habitat, exhibit, what do you want to call it, of the entire zoo. Excuse me again, this mouth is completely dry, talking too much. But we come to the Crocodile Lake. This encompasses, this has the gharial and the crocodile all in a shared exhibit. Now I know realistically that ain't gonna work, you know, that wouldn't happen. But this is a game, so we're gonna have some fun with it. So I didn't want you to be able to see what's going on. So there's only one viewing area for this, and that is all down into this building right here. On this side, this is where the keeper set and stuff is, and back in the back there is the gate is back here, right here. Like I said, I want it all covered. Now this is a pretty massive habitat. I actually broke the episodes up into 2 parts. One for the main building here, and the second for the habitat itself. But I did something down here that I'm actually pretty proud of, and it's a big thanks to someone on the workshop for this. But I made these little aquariums as you come down the stairs here on each side. These art-shaped fish. We got fish, jellyfish, we got the turtle, Really, really neat creations, and these are made by Survivor on the workshop. I'll give you a good view of what these look like at night. Matter of fact, let's do that now. I think they look better at night. We'll come down and see. Just the way it shines, I guess, it's really good. I really like it. They even had some glowing eyes on these guys. Didn't realize that until just now. But yeah, I just thought they were really neat. I do have a plan to, in the future, maybe have some zoos where I have some implied aquariums where we don't use the penguins or the animals that are in the game, but I just mean like aquariums like these. But also, I'm thinking that in the future we will get some kind of... I have a feeling we'll get some kind of aquarium feature like this in the future. I mean, we already have the exhibits, and that's pretty much what the exhibits are. You can just turn those into an aquarium. I know that might not be exactly what people want, but I have a feeling that's the way it's going to be. But we come down, and we get our main viewing area of the... Now, I know these are caimans before anybody says in the comments. I know these are caimans, but I needed something to put on the walls, and those plain white alligator signs just don't cut it for me. I like the detail on these guys. The only bad thing about this section down here is the fact that, well, it's the sun. The way the sun shines, it just... I mean, you can see one there. The idea behind this is I wanted you to be completely surrounded by the crocodiles and the gharials. Ooh, look at this. Perfect. That is awesome. And I really like the idea that, I really like the fact that you can't see anything behind or around in the water. So you can't see no foliage, you can't see the rocks. There is a little bit in there, but you can't see any of that. All you can see is the crocodile. I mean, look at that. That is awesome. I could literally sit here all day and watch this. That is so cool. You can even hear the growl. But this is what I was going for right here. This is exactly what I wanted. I wanted to be able to completely darken this area, and the only thing you can see is that crocodile. I mean, it kind of gives it that little bit of a menacing, and it's intimidating. And then maybe he'll come around to the other side here, and we'll get a good view of that from there. There he is. I mean, how cool is that? There's lots, and there's another one right there. There's lots and lots of crocodiles in here. And of course, the gharials don't dive just yet, but Frontier have already stated that, you know, more animals will be given the diving mechanics over time, and gharials are no exception. I guarantee it. There you go. I feel like this worked out great. I honestly can't wait for you guys to see just this part here. I mean, this is incredible. This is exactly what I was going for. I love the fact that you really can't see much behind what's going on. All you can see is the animals. I know I said that already, but that's just how much I love it. So this is the first time I've actually gotten to see this. I haven't got to see them dive yet or anything, but either way. What in the world is that? I don't know what that is. Anyway, so down here we do have some vending machines, we do have some toilets, some restrooms, little seating areas, just very vast and open. And on the top is where you get your best view of the rest of the habitat. So like I said, it's very, very large. So we got plenty of islands. There's one right there actually. I believe that might be a gharial. Yes, it is. And this kind of gives you, like I said, you're surrounded by crocodiles and gharials. Now, I could probably go for putting a lot more in there. So I think right now there's probably... There's one right over there. There's 12 gharials and maybe 10 crocodiles. And I'm thinking about adding more in there before I release this under the workshop. But I might just leave it for the simple fact that people can do that themselves when they download it if they want to check it out. But I really like the fact... Excuse me. The whole point of this habitat, the idea behind it was to make it seem like there is no end. So there's no barrier. That's the idea that I had. So it's almost like the animals can just go and come and go as they please. That was the idea behind it. There is a barrier, of course. There's a rock wall back there, but I wanted it to be distant, to where maybe you couldn't see it too much. Because for all you know, there are ways around this rock wall on each side. You don't know that. I mean, you can't see it, so. But I think it came out pretty well. Like I said, I don't recommend making habitats this large. It is possible. Plenty of other players have done it, and it can make it work, but it's difficult. You know, it really is. And it also takes its toll on the game's, I guess, processing power. Or even your computer, because, you know, the game is going to process the traversable area of this entire habitat. So, me personally, I wouldn't do this type of habitat very often. You know, eventually I would like to do a massive safari in some sort of African zoo or something, you know, down the line. I do have plans for that in the future. But anyway, so yeah, this is Crocodile Lake. I think it came out better than I thought it would. Sometimes after I build something and I take the tour, you know, with you guys, is when I really get to see that, you know, I am proud of this. You know, it doesn't. At first, it doesn't seem like it's good enough, and then once I take the tour, I'm like, you know, it ain't so bad. I've seen better, but I guess we all have. But if we come around, and this will take you right back to the entrance, where the two tortoises are, and that's pretty much it. Like I said, there's not a lot of animals in here. It's all just reptiles, and there's no doubt that eventually we will have more reptiles added to the game over time. I'm assuming we'll get an American alligator at some point, and some more exhibit animals. Maybe some more big lizards, some more turtles, maybe like an alligator snapping turtle. That'd be pretty cool. We'll escape this, and we'll get a good view of what the above looks like. So these solar panels here, by the way, are made by iPod in Hand 257. I've used these before in the Australian Zoolittle series. I will continue to use them because I just think they're great. Let's get a good look at them real quick. So for people that haven't seen them, now these are a little bit modified. So when you download these from the workshop, originally they'll be slanted. They'll be put at an angle. All I did was just delete some of the supports and made it flat. Realistically, I don't know if that works well or not, but so yeah, we got the entrance area here. The two tortoises from above. Let's get a good look inside the habitat. Yeah, so honestly, what I should have done is move the dragons and monitors over here. So this should have been the dragons and monitors habitats, because it's much bigger, and could have added some more water and stuff in here for them. They're in here somewhere. Maybe they're sleeping. Oh, yeah, they're all in there sleeping. And we have is it the Aldabra? Yes, Aldabra giant tortoise. So I try to give it a little bit of variation, you know, a little bit of a difference. Over here we have the Reptile Research Center, hidden away in the back. And dragons and monitors. Get you a better view of the inside of the habitat. You know, pretty much a whole lot of water. I like this right here. It took me forever to get it to where this was traversable. But I have the little sleeping area up here where they can go up and sleep. It's also a little good way to hide, because I guess from over here you can just barely see them. Check it out. Cool. So yeah, pretty much what I did when I built this habitat, this entire section over here, is I built one wall, and then I duplicated it each side for 3, and then I would take this, duplicate the whole thing, rotate it, put it over here, and then just start rotating. So unfortunately, as you can see, got 2 pieces there. So these are the ones that are connected. And cool thing about it is when I built this, you know, you leave this side open because this is what's connected to the building. So if you click on this, you can see there's nothing over here. So what I did was, there were two ways I could have done it. So I could have left it like this, put the habitat gate in, and then saved it as a blueprint, copied it over, put it here, and just took this piece and moved it so it'd be on this side, and that way there'd be nothing there to connect it. What I did was I just selected these two pieces, one with the gate, and I rotated them, and that's all I did. Put it on this side. As you can see, the roof I was talking about earlier, you know how to make it very custom. I think it turned out pretty well. I have to say, as I was building it, I was thinking, you know, this is gonna be crap. I can't, but I did it. Now, we got some pieces sticking out here and stuff like that, but those are pieces that you never really see. So, and we got the Komodo dragons once again. They can climb over all this. There's two of them in here, and they're not happy with their enclosure. I believe it's too small for them. Yeah, see, way too small. Of course, we have these areas too, but I'm not too worried about those. And the now monitors, every single one of them sleeping. Oh, now they're not happy. Excuse me. I think it came out pretty well though, but like I said, honestly, what I should have done was put the tortoises over here and move these guys over to the two tortoises. Just change the names and kind of mess with some things and do it that way. But here is what I was talking about, this massive reptile house. Too big. I'm going to make sure to remember that next time and try to work harder and do a better job of building things to scale, especially with these doors. Most of you have already seen my newest sandbox series is Fern Gully. I built some doors, custom doors, and I did the same thing. They're huge. They're way too big. They're massive doors. To be fair, I've been to places before that had doors like that where even a grown man like me couldn't get it open. But and then we got Crocodile Lake. So this is what I was talking about, just a massive habitat. You can see them scattered around everywhere. But there's the borders of it. And you come through here. It comes out this way. So that's pretty much it, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed this series so far, and I hope that the idea of the Sanctuaries series is something that you guys would continually like to see. There's not a whole lot of options. I can go ahead and tell you now. I have plans, I think, for 5 zoos in the Sanctuary series right now. Reptile World, and then there's going to be one for big cats, one for bears, one for aquatic animals, and that doesn't mean just the 5 aquatic animals we got with the pack. There's other ones like hippos, flamingos, polar bears, all that stuff. It's going to be a massive sanctuary just for animals that all require they have the aquatic biome, I guess you could say, or that like water, or semi-aquatic, whatever you want to call it. But it'll also include the aquatic animals, of course. And we even have one for apes and monkeys, which will include lemurs as well. But that's pretty much the idea of what I'm going for. Like I said originally, this was a blueprint. These trees you see here that don't match the rest of the tropical trees is because originally this was going to be like Zoolittles, where it's all in the same biome. But I've decided that Sanctuaries is going to be based off the animals, but each one's going to have a different biome. So the next one we do is actually going to be taking place in the desert. I'm not going to reveal. Actually, no, I take that back. It's going to be taking place in grasslands. The grasslands biome. I'm not going to tell you what animals are, what species of animal it's going to be about. You'll see that at the end of this video. Though, like I've been doing in my previous videos, there'll be like a little trailer or like a little reveal of what that next zoo is going to be. And it'll start soon after. But once again, after this video goes out, that same day you can go on the workshop and check it out for yourself if you would like to. There'll be I'm going to be creating a collection that has all the sanctuary zoos in it. Of course, this is the only one we have right now. But I hope you guys really enjoyed this series. I've enjoyed it. There's been a lot of difficulty, a lot of uncertainty about how I was going to do things in this zoo, a lot of things that I wasn't happy with. But I think overall it turned out pretty well. I pretty much used the space that I had given myself in the first place. For reference, I think I would say the Zoolittles map is probably, like if we were looking at it from this angle, probably right there. Or, you know, maybe, I think probably half of this. Half of this, I would say, is the Zoolittles map. So it's almost like two Zoolittles in one, I guess you could say. But I'll stop rambling. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I don't know if my commentary is getting any better, but I have a feeling that the way my commentary is now, it's probably not going to change. I mean, I'll be doing a Let's Play Franchise Zoo series soon. I don't have an exact date on when that's coming out, but it'll be very community-based, as in maybe what you've seen with other YouTubers like Delady and Rudy and others, but it's all going to be based off what the people that watch my content want. So if you want to be a part of that, definitely join the Discord server. It's a safe place to be. It's fun. It's not always the most active, but people are busy, and you can come over. You don't have to be active. You can just lurk around if you want. But there will be channels strictly for the franchise zoo where you can, well, I'll put up polls to vote on things for the zoo or suggestions. And also, eventually, there will be a channel dedicated to blueprints that if you want to build something for the franchise zoo, as long as it's appropriate, I guess you could say, for the zoo, then I can place that in the zoo. Of course, there'll be a little bit of, there could be issues with that in a sense that if someone wants something that they built put into the franchise zoo, it depends on how far along in the franchise zoo I am to be able to place it then. So say if you give me a restaurant that you built as a blueprint that you want in the zoo, and say it cost, $80,000 to place down, that's something that might have to wait until later to be done, because in franchise zoo, for those of you who don't know, you have to earn your money. You only start out with 40 grand, I believe. So you have to be careful about how you start the zoo. And then once you get into the zoo, I'd say about halfway through, get you about 10 animals in there. Usually things go pretty smooth. So, but if you want to be a part of that, please join the server. If you like the video, if you like the content, please consider subscribing. It doesn't cost you anything. But no pressure. I don't want anybody to think they have to. And like, comment, and tell me what you think. And stay tuned after the video to see the reveal of the next Sanctuary Zoo that'll be coming soon. Thank you for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time.